Good morning everybody and welcome to Middle Earth Readings. It is Monday the 12th of December and I am here to provide those of you who are here live with some personal readings around your rune of the week, and for those of you who are not, you can listen in to what we share. We have a lot of people who come now live, so we get to cover a lot of the runes each week, and I'm going to be contextualizing that within within runic astrology. So the position of the planets within the runic wheel, which we can see as a 24 segmented wheel upon the ecliptic. And we're going to be looking at 3 planetary movements today. Hi Karen, lovely to see you. Hi Chen. Apologies that I started a little bit late today. I wasn't sure I was actually going to make it. I was in the snow. As I think many people in the UK might be. We woke up to some very, very thick snow here in Biggleswade, and I had to go and get some shopping in so that we have food, whatever happens, because it's destined to be very cold. It is forecast to be very cold for the rest of the week, so I needed to go and do that. But I am back, it's all fine. Hi Felicity, hi Esther, lovely to see you. So I said that we have got 3 planetary movements this week. So today, Odin's chariot, that's equivalent of Mercury, is moving into Eihwaz. So Eihwaz, I'll find the rune here. Eihwaz is the rune of the yew tree. It is the rune of defense, the rune of the staff. We might think a little bit about like the axis mundi, sometimes thought of as the Irminsul pillar for those of you who are heathen or northern tradition followers already. And it's a real rune of strength and endurance, very appropriate actually in the snow. It is, when you think about the snow, and we can think about it as being like Hagalaz, this icy, blasting weather that, I can look at and I see the green plants that have been struggling on even though winter was coming, and they've all, now they're going to go now. That's it. They're covered in snow. They're drooping now. They're giving up that life force. And what Eihwaz does is as the yew tree, it reminds us of the life force that always endures beneath the surface. That the snow and the ice come, and they are, part of their job, or part of what they do is they kill off bacteria, they kill off germs, they kill off fungi, things that would otherwise destroy a lot of the plant life that we need. Here is Eihwaz. And so they do serve this rejuvenating function, so that when the spring returns, what survives will be the most healthy. But deep within the sap deep within the trees, the sap has drawn inwards, and it's conserving that energy. And Eihwaz, we can see it as being that way. It's sometimes referred to as fire's keeper, which could be because yew wood doesn't catch fire very easily, but once it does, it burns very hot and very bright. It could be because people say because it didn't catch fire, it was quite useful for holding like cinders in, like burning embers, and preserving them and keeping them until the next morning has been another guess. But I sometimes wonder whether it's also that container, that preserver of the Feyu life force. At the very beginning of the Elder Futhar, we have the Feyu rune, which is life force, that amber and that sap. And Eihwaz is right in the middle, just after. So we have Jera, we're going to be talking about Jera, and then we have Eihwaz, we have the rune of the year, and then we have the rune of Eihwaz, which is this enduring rune, the enduring rune. So we're going to be working with that. So Odin's chariot is moving into Eihwaz, and then Frigg's chariot is moving in 4 days' time also into Eihwaz. These 2 planets, Venus and Mercury, as they're known with the Roman names, are normally close together. They're normally very close to the sun. It's like they're either just ahead of the sun, just behind the sun. So at the moment, Suna's chariot, Jera, is just behind Odin's chariot. It's moving into Jera on the 14th. So we have Odin's chariot in Eihwaz, fire's keeper. Then we have Suna's chariot in Jera, the rune of the year, the rune of harvest, the promise of renewal. The midpoint of Suna's chariot in Jera is the winter solstice. It's like this axis rune that reminds us that in the very depths of winter, the summer You know, the light is reborn. It's really lovely that we have these two Eihwaz runes, with Frigg's Chariot then moving in on the 16th into Eihwaz, containing and holding this energy of Jera. So it's a powerful time. It's a powerful time for us. And I just wanted to share with you, really, my thoughts and my wishes, and a little bit about, you know, my mission in the world, and to invite you into thinking in the same way around what is the, you know, whatever is happening in the day to day, whatever is happening, you know, right now. And yes, I had to go and get shopping, and I snowed in, and all of those things are happening. You know, that is a reality. But there is also the reality of the longer game, the bigger picture that might extend out even beyond, you know, your lifetime, my lifetime, into generations to come. And, you know, a lot of my work is centered there. It's about working with people, you know, people who I believe to be heroic, you know, taking a stand, and people like you taking a stand for a different way, for a more earth-centered, a more spiritual way of life, perhaps drawing on that wisdom and that strength of our ancestors, you know, our hardy ancestors who survived within the northern lands before central heating, which I'm incredibly grateful for today. You know, that endurance, that Eihwaz spirit that we talked about, that runs through each of us, you know, and that I feel that that purpose, that calling to support that. And for me, part of that is that bringing in the mysteries and the magic and the myth and the power of the northern tradition, and making it as accessible for you as possible, and also looking where it needs to be to bring that life and that renewal and that evolution, you know, that sense in which part of the old ways of the ancestors has died, you know, along with them, and that we need to kindle something new that's our own flame as well. You know, perhaps the fuel that is provided is from them, but the fire is ours, and we need to light that. And in a broader context, regardless of specific spiritual belief or specific pantheon, for me, is this sense in which our society at the moment is very characterized by competition, by this idea of external success, you know, what external success looks like and feels like, what it feels like to be a successful human being, certainly within the Western world. And also this sense of so many rules around how we need to learn, what we need to prove ourselves to be, you know, the way that the schooling system works, and again, all tied into this idea of what it means to be successful, that so much of it has been fixed and set. And what I want to do is not to say we don't need that structure and that framework and what I think was like the codification, the things that have been written and passed down to us and that we use and we learn from. And I'm not saying that those things, those structures aren't important. Of course they are, you know. This is the partnership between order and chaos all the time. It's just that at the moment our order needs to be shuffled and changed just a little bit if we are to survive, and not just survive as a species, but to thrive and to be the caretakers that I believe our Earth deserves us to be. And so for me, fostering spirituality as a path into individual purpose and individual communion is one of those ways in which we find our way back to our truth, back to the destiny that's available to us. And the other piece is sensitivity. It is feeling into what is our body saying, what is our intuition saying, what is our instinct saying, as well as what is our intellectual mind saying. It's recognizing that we are far more complex than simply a learning mind that travels, you know, through school into employment and gets a pension. I think we're a bit more than that. So I just wanted to share that sense of my bigger picture, and when I think about what could be possible for humanity and where we could be, and we'll spend some time in these coming weeks as we move towards Yule, feeling into that vision and feeling what that looks like, and saying, what is the next unfolding for me? How do I support that vision of a future where we are more aligned with our planet, where we're living and we're not drawing on more resources than we should be, and that we are caretakers and stewards, and that we have multiple spiritualities, across the world that are respectful and nurturing and loving of each other. I just think that'll be such a wonderful place. That's where I want to be. So my invitation to you through this time, from today on the 12th, and right the way through until this piece actually lasts until the 28th. So Frigg's chariot moves out of Eihwaz on the 28th, and Suna's chariot, I tell a lie, moves out on the 29th. So we've got this period of time, a few weeks, to just feel into that bigger picture. And I'd love to know for you, what is your vision for the world? What is the legacy that you see that you would love to leave or be part of even? So let us have a look then at your runes. Just actually, I tell a lie, is there anything else I wanted to say about Odin and Frigg? I think really just to say for Odin's chariot is calling us into that bigger picture. It's like, claim your most mighty destiny is what he is saying. Stand with your staff, stand proud is what he calls us into. Frigg's chariot on the 16th reminds us that even the most impossible to compute deeds, things that you go, how could a human being do that, or how could this have come to pass? If you trace back far enough, Frigg says, she says all acts were originally conceived as acts of love. Even if you have to go back right into the, somebody's far, far away childhood to a point where they wanted to be loved and they didn't receive it themselves, and for whatever reason they then carried that with them and made them make decisions that we wouldn't necessarily agree with. And I'm not trying to make excuses for that, because obviously there are plenty of people in the world who have very horrible things happen to them and they do not choose to do horrible things back. But Frigg is reminding us of that it's possible to hold those two truths at the same time, to say each human being should take responsibility for themselves, and it is possible to act and to be different and to create a different pattern. But it is also possible to act with compassion and forgiveness, and that we each need that as well. It's very difficult to follow your path if you're carrying the weight of not having forgiven others. That's a piece for another time, I think, but if that's something that you want to feel into, Frigg offers that. The open arms of the divine feminine is the way that I would characterize that. And then Suna's chariot in Jera, the rune of the year, is that slower picture. It's saying, okay, maybe this vision that I hold, or what I would like for the world, or how bad the world is now and everything that needs to be done to fix it feels so huge. And Jera says this is true, but what seed do you need to sow today? What snow do you need to clear off your path so that you can get out and go and get some food for the day? It says, what are those small acts? And with Jera, it's very much a rune that says, you might not feel that change. But it will come. Actually, I'm going to share something with you today. I'm celebrating today. Celebrating is a really special moment for me. You probably don't know, on a Monday morning for the last 2 years, I have met with a very special group. And they are part of, they're businesswomen like me, women who decided they're purpose-led, just happens to be women. It's an open group for men as well. Hosted by the fabulous Sarah Price, who runs an organisation called Actually, which supports purpose-led entrepreneurs like me. And we get together every week and we talk about what are those seeds that we want to sow? What is it that we want to do? And I love that. I find that so powerful, very similar to the symbol right that I hold space for people on Awaken and in some of my other programs. And we were doing our celebrations for the year because it was the last group of the year. Here we go. Here's the Jera rune. And I didn't even know it was coming, but there was an award announced, and it was the award for the person who had fulfilled the largest number of the intentions that they had set for themselves. So they'd sown the largest number of seeds and fulfilled on the promises that they had made at the sessions. And I won the award. And I was so happy, so happy. you know, I talk about this a lot with other, I think I done a blog article about it, and I talk about it in my groups. It's that sense of creating intentions that feel powerful and right and aligned for ourselves, and then following through on them and making them so they're not, you know, impossible tasks, but they are small, achievable tasks that steadily make the wheel turn that little bit faster. So I'm celebrating today my award. So I got yes, my Gold Star Award. So yes, I share that with you. Now we are ready to move on to your runes. Let's have a look at your runes. So Karen, you have Eihwaz for today. I'm really feeling the presence of Odin and Frigg very strongly, this sense of blessing and this sense of almost saying, yes, we do call you into destiny. We do call you into that sense of, I want to contribute something. I want to make meaningful, purposeful contributions in life. I want to have impact. And I want something different as well. You know, I want to be fulfilled and satisfied and happy and feel bliss. You know, it's one of my intentions that I put for this week. We always get to put one that's like just for us. No, because it's important, isn't it? It's not all about the work. My one for just for me for this week is to feel the bliss of winter. So I was really working hard on that when I was pushing all of the snow off the car this morning. But I was like, yeah, you know, the magic of the snow is not to be forgotten. So it is that balance. And with Eihwaz, with its arms, here we go, here's the Eihwaz rune here, positioned upwards, it can be seen as somebody standing out with their arms raised up to the gods. And at this point, Odin and Frigg are saying, we are here, and we know that we ask a lot of you, but what we would like you to look at the moment is, what do you need? What is the world offering you? What is it that we are trying to offer to you to support you in that? We want you to fulfill this, you know, wonderful, glorious destiny, to play your part, however big, however small, whatever that means. We want you to play your part, but we want you to be supported in that, to feel that sense of support. So, Karen, with the Eihwaz rune there, I would look to look for those maybe like unexpected moments where you think, well, first of all, do I need to do this thing right now? You know, it's almost like saying, if you don't feel supported, then don't move forward. Don't push yourself into something where you go, actually, no, I don't have the support that I need to do that. It's very much about bringing that mindfulness to saying, maybe I'm pushing away some opportunities for support. If that's the case, how can I open to them more? How can I ask for help more? How can I find the presence of the gods, or whatever it is that you want to call them, spirit, source, in the world around me? And how can I ask for help is one of the pieces that it's saying. It's also saying, reach into those moments of bliss, reach into those moments of ecstasy and happiness, because those are the fuel. That's the fuel that sustains us when times are hard. So we need that. You know, we need that when life gets really hard, and faith can wobble a little bit. Sometimes we need to step away from the thing that we're really trying to push for, and say, where is my joy? Where is my support? Where is my sense of connection? Bring that. And yeah, maybe on the 29th, when we have moved out of the Eihwaz pillars, holding this Jera, this potential for a new year coming into being, burning in the darkness there with the Eihwaz rune, holding it and protecting it. Maybe once that is past, then we have that replenished strength. It's very much a message for winter as well. Chen, you have Perthrow, which is often it's like a companion, complementary, or you think about maybe as an opposite rune to the Eihwaz rune. So the Eihwaz rune is the world tree. It's very much about stability. It's about endurance, strength. There is a stillness is maybe the wrong word. That's perhaps a bit more Isa. But this ability to sort of stand in power and not to move. You know, I am rooted and I am grounded, and everything else can flow around me and go a bit weird, and that's okay because I am in Eihwaz. You know, is what Eihwaz says. Perthrow doesn't do that. Perthrow allows the new ideas to flow through. It says I can change my mind. It says I can have opinions that are different to people. It says I can be playful, I can be fickle. You know, all of these things are available. It's very much a rune of play and a rune of flow. You know, playing and flowing, looking for the joy. There's a sense for the Perthro rune as well, in which sometimes we can feel like when we're trying to make change and we're trying to move forward, it can feel very much as if we've got our shoulder against the grindstone, or that we are moving into conflict with others, because people tend to resist it when we try and change. They just do. You know, it's part of change. It's what happens. And Perthro says, yeah, that's going to happen. Let's have fun with that too. Let's instead of being in a room and feeling like at the heart center, as can happen particularly if you're highly empathic, feeling the rushes of fear or frustration or worry or anxiety or a lack of, you know, I'm feeling a lack of control right now, that we can get in groups when we're trying to change things. And it's sort of saying, okay, what's underneath that? Let's breathe underneath that into, yeah, we're in conflict right now. Oh, this is interesting. And it's part of what I think of as being collective wisdom, that the answers to the problems are never found in here, in isolation. That's part of the process, you know, that reflection, that thinking, that journaling, all of those things. But to reach a full and complete answer to something that needs to be changed in the world requires us to look for the answers in the spaces between people, and to say, okay, your discomfort right now is simply part of the road towards the solution. So Perthro says, yeah, get comfortable with that, be okay with that. So whereas Eihwaz, I'm like, I'm just going to stir and stir and I'm going to do it. Perthro's like, yeah, let's just move and shift. What happens if I shift my energy here? What happens if I try a different tack? So it's very playful. So give some thought to how can you bring more play? How can you look at, okay, that opportunity didn't work out, so what else is available? Or this thing that I really wanted to happen in this way is not going to happen in that way anymore. What else is available? It's asking those questions. Being Perthro, becoming Perthro, the rune of weird and play and laughter and fun and song. Hello Felicity, happy snowy morning to you too. You have the Largi's rune, which is a lovely rune, flows very nicely with the Perthro energy. So Perthro, I always think of it as being that, like, the waters of weird flowing and the cauldron that holds them. And then Largi's is the rune of water. There is a rushing energy with water, and I'm feeling into Holder, or Frau Holler as she's sometimes called. It's almost this ancient magic of the well, and all of the stories that come with it, or the way in which we toss coins into the well, and the well was said to be where, you know, fairy spirits might hang out, or where, you know, the is it Vasilisa? Is she one of the ones who goes to the well? And that's part, I'm not sure if it is Vasilisa. There's a no, I don't think it is, but it's a similar tale of a young woman who goes to the well, and she meets the spirit of the well there, and the spirit says, you know, come and work with me, and she does the work and reaps lovely rewards and goes back. And, you know, the evil nasty sisters, they're always evil nasty sisters, aren't there, go and they try and do the same, but they won't do the work, and so they don't get the rewards. And there is something about accessing wisdom. Here's our Largi's rune. Something here about accessing the wisdom of the elders, of the women of the waters. I say women in the loosest possible sense here. The spirit of the water and of wisdom. It reminds me that the snow and the ice is obviously a form of water, and that when it starts to thaw, it becomes water. And I'm trying to figure out where this is wanting to take me. I'm almost like seeing you on a path, like tramping through the water and then getting to the well, but the well is frozen over. And it is that patience, that sense of the journey that the young woman takes is a journey of not knowing, and of patience, and of going, oh, you know, the well is frozen over, what do I do here? And you know, I was talking about, like, not putting the shoulder to the grindstone, but in this case there is a sense in which, oh, you know, if I was to look at this and say, well, what piece of care could I give to this. So it might be the sort of thing where, you know, if you're at a pond and then you go, well, bring a hot pan of water to put in to melt the hole so that the water can breathe and the fish underneath the water can breathe. It's those sorts of little acts of tender, loving care that open the way for the wisdom of spirit to come through, is the sense that I'm getting. So it's almost saying become an invitation for the Lagu's energy to come in through when you do things like, you know, I don't know if you do feed the birds. I'm pretty certain that you're somebody who would feed the birds, but you know, those sorts of things. It's saying, how can I be more of that invitation, not by trying to be bigger or more, you know, doing loads of stuff, but just in this moment recognizing these small acts of care as being the acts that in the old tales we are told do open up that connection with spirit. So, and I'm feeling something very like a little theme starting to emerge now, because we've had a little bit of that with the Algis rune as well, this sense of opening up, and with Perthro as well. It was saying, what can we do to open to the wisdom of spirit? And it might be that the runes are offering like different wisdom to different people, or different power that we may need for the year ahead as well. So you might want to think about that in terms of these runes coming up, that it's like, what do I need to be filled with that's going to support me in the coming year? And Esther, you've got Athala, so we've got that ancestral energy, the energy of estate and household. There's boundary keeping comes in there as well. It's that sense of again, I'm feeling these old mysteries and tales about literally like going out and beating the bounds, and when you go out and you look and you go, oh, you know, my fence post is down a little bit here, I'm just going to go and repair that, and recognizing that in itself can be an act of claiming power and spirituality. You know, that our ancestors brought their relationship with I want to say spirit, you know, the divine, whatever you want to call it, source, into their everyday acts in a way that I think sometimes we forget. We sort of feel as if I've got to make it special. And it's all sort of saying, well, what if it already is special and I just need to recognize that, you know, that I don't need to do anything more. I just need to recognize it and bring it and bring that forward more, that the sacred is perhaps just as much a state of mind and openness and awareness as it is, you know, performing a deeply meditative ritual or a sort of very fancy ceremony. There's our Athala rune. So it's almost like claiming your place amongst the magical beings of the present, but also of the past. And saying, yeah, what if I was to just recognize myself as a magical being, and to know that as I walk through my day, every act is an act of magic, and the only thing that I need to do is to open up to it for that to be so. Erica, you have Uruz. Uruz has been present for you, hasn't it? This I'm with this deeply healing energy. I'm feeling this like sensitivity around the sort of abdominal area, not in a bad way, just in a like in a delicate way. It might be that paying attention to like even more attention perhaps to diet and what you're filling your body with through the coming month, and that's something that's important for the year ahead. It's sort of paying attention to that, to the I'm just really feeling that almost like as the internal organs. And Uru's coming through as that very purifying energy. It was similar to when I often think about it as having a little overlap with Lagu's there, when we look at it as being the purification of like the moon and the waters, and this very gentle tenderness, the other side of the Uru's rune, because we often think about it as being like will and strength, you know, great strength and fortitude and will and the power of the aurochs. But the aurochs weren't actually, you know, known for being hugely wild, aggressive creatures. There is a deep love that comes through with the Uru's rune as well. And I'm feeling now like green moss, and this sense almost, I think it's almost like recognizing the body as an ecosystem. And Uruz is offering itself as an initiator into the ecosystem of the body, into the way that these, which is I suppose why it went down into the abdomen a little bit there. No, the gut health being part of that ecosystem of being, and it's I think it's inviting you into that a little bit, and into, you know, I'm drinking my tea, my lemon and manuka honey tea, and I know when I do that I always feel so much better than when I sort of like whip up much as I love a good English breakfast tea. I can do that without mindfulness at times, you know, it's just like, oh, drink this and drink that and drink this. So it's something about recognizing that there's a tenderness in urus as well, that it's offering itself to a real, almost like a fern, you know, unfurling these ancient plants that hold within them. Almost, is it like the Fibonacci sequence I want to say? There's these deep, deep magics in very, very small moments. It's the micro, an awareness of the micro that's coming through with the Uruz rune there for you, Erica. And Candice. I conflated your Candice into the Uruz. So yes, indeed, I do have snow. So you have Uruz upside down. When it becomes more like the cup, it becomes like the drinking horn to me, is the way that it looks. Actually, I didn't get the Uruz rune out for Erica, did I? I'll bring that up and then I can show it to people upside down as well. So the Uruz rune, when it's upside down, can relate to, if you see it, imagine that that's the way, the right way up, and it can look like the aurochs going across the plane there. Sorry, it's just deeply, deeply insulting to the aurochs. That looks nothing like my hand going across the plane. But it can also be like this way up, and be the horns of the aurochs. So sometimes that can refer to, it can offer a little bit more power, a little bit more defensive power, let's say. Not, it is defensive, it's not attacking power. It is this is my land, this is my place, here we go. I'm feeling this almost like a call from your hearth here, your home, your stead, to recognize the power that is held within your home and your stead and your land, and perhaps to do some work to acknowledge that and to bring that even more like powerfully into presence. If you've got a drinking horn, it'd be a really nice idea to do a symbol rite, slightly modified, more working on gratitudes for spirits of place, spirits of hearth, the relationship that you have with them. It could be ancestral, toasting to ancestors as well. So get your drinking horn out, or your mug that says "Mum, I love you to the moon and back," if that's what you have to hand, and then do your toasting to spirits of hearth, spirits of home, ancestors, and also I think anyone who you look back over your life at and you say this person was a role model to me, or they offered protection to me, a little bit like the aurochs being in the herd and the elder aurochs being on the outside and protecting the younger ones. Because what we're doing with this is, when we give voice to that, is we're drawing that energy in more powerfully into ourselves as well. And I think that doing that will then fill your Uruz cup, so that you have lots of access to the lovely Uruz energy through the coming year. That's the sense that I get. Suzanne, hello. Suzanne comes bearing runes. Morning, everyone. So Eihwaz for you. Ooh, so we have Uruz, which is the aurochs. So then we have Eihwaz, which is the rune of the steed. So animals that could be ridden. So normally related to the horse, but Eihwaz can represent partnership with other, particularly with animals. It's a really good rune to work with for like animal communication, for people who are, you know, interested in working on animal communication. I tend to use a lovely combination of Feiyu and Eihwaz with my cats. Cats love Feiyu, and Eihwaz supports that that communication. I think we've mentioned this a little bit before, because I know that we picked up a bit before on other people's energy being around you, and I'm not feeling that so much, but there is an echo of that with the Eihwaz rune coming through now. And I'm almost feeling like your guides, like if you imagine that you have I know that you do have some power animals, but it's Eihwaz is representing here spirit guides in a larger collective, and they're saying rely on us, you know, delegate to us, So say to us, you know, at the moment, I might not have as much energy to be the healing presence, to be the advisory, wise, creating all the fabulous things that make you Suzanne. And that for people, for a lot of people, you know, certainly a lot of my clients, people that I work with and people that I get on well with, they do just feel, you know, when you stand with somebody and you just feel better just being in their presence. Suzanne is one of those people, by the way. You know, you just feel really good because they're like natural healing emanators. But sometimes that can be really, really draining. And it's almost like your guides are saying, what we'd like to do is to form almost like an energetic web around you for a period of time where we take that on. So we're like gathering, collating, that sounds like they're doing a filing. Well, that's what they said, around you. And they're sending it off whenever they can. And then they're saying everything else we will hold. And you can probably actually do some work with them to say, okay, you know, what have you picked up on? What do you need? Is this something that I can work with, or do we just need to send that back? I'm seeing like a web. It's like a web around you. Almost like a... When I was younger, my cousins used to have one of these like black felted pictures that had the pins all the way down the side, and then you would get threads that had been tied from one pin to the next, and they would form these shapes that, although each piece, each tie from one pin to another was a straight line, they looked as if they were curved. So it's like that. It's like this collective of helping and supporting spirits who are coming forward to say, we've got this, and who might also offer support and healing to you as well. It's the sense in which I get. So it's really drawing on the power of the collective, and giving yourself a break and allowing yourself to be held in the center is what's coming through there. Then Ren, you have Feiyu. We talked a little bit about the Feiyu energy earlier with Feiyu and Eihwaz. It's a really nice complementary energy to it's supported through Eihwaz. Now the only thing that I would cancel with that is I want you to imagine that, again, maybe it's because we had a little bit of collective energy with Suzanne here, that there are people, they're all gathered together, and there are some people who are, you know, I'm here in my Eihwaz state, I'm feeling really strong, and I'm allowing the world to see my lovely Feiyu energy. It's radiating out, it's delicious, golden, happy, joyful energy, and it's flowing out, and it's doing wonderful things. It's like the amber and the sap and the gold, the life force of Feiyu is coming, emanating outwards. And then there are people for whom Christmas, I want to say, is quite a challenging time of year, and their Eihwaz rune draws in like a bark around them to protect them. And what I think is being offered is this awareness of different people's needs, and to recognize that, you know, I'm one of these people that if I see somebody who's like a little bit grumpy, it's terrible. It's really terrible. It's like a red rag to a bull. I'm like, I must go and cheer this person up immediately. I don't know what it is. I just can't stop myself. You know, it's like I want to, you know, it's like a competition to see if I can make them happy. You know, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. So it's sort of saying, firstly, bringing your sense of awareness to what energetically is this person? Are they giving out? Are they there? And they're going to connect with my Feiyu energy, and our Feiyu energies are going to come together, and they're going to go, poof, we're going to have a great time. Or is this person saying, actually, I just really, really need to be alone, or sheltered a little bit, in which case actually the presence of quietness, of just saying, you know, hi, I'm just going to sit here, and almost offering them that sense of like a protective shield can be what they need. And also that recognition that sometimes you can be both. You can have times when you're like, yeah, I'm really feeling that light radiating out of me and I'm feeling great right now. And other times you're like, no, I want to be inside, I want to be alone, I want to be protected, is okay and is natural, particularly at this period of time, through the winter months, when the Jera rune is so present to us, and it's that balance of energy between sending energy out into the world and then receiving energy back, which is really nice. You know, we get the Feiyu energy back, as long as we don't choose the grumpy person to go and try and cheer up. Know that you get that energy circuit going and that replenishes us. Or you can say, actually, I'm bringing my bark down and I'm just going to be quiet and peaceful and maybe light a candle or read a book or do something, and I'm going to recharge from inside. So it's really honouring those needs and feeling into them there. Now, Troy, you have Thurisaz. And I'll tell you something, Troy. The minute that I felt your Thurisaz, I had this little wave of tiredness. Which sometimes I actually get. I say sometimes. I normally get, after Middle-earth readings, a wave of tiredness comes over me, and it's because I've opened myself up really wide to receive your runes, to connect with you, to find what you want. But I don't normally get it during Middle-earth readings, which suggests to me that it's something that is important for you. Perhaps following on a little bit from Ren, almost that because Thurisaz is also a fire rune, but it can be a more feisty rune, let's say. And I'm feeling a sense, or almost a sense of anger here, when other people don't play their part, or they're not standing in their power in a way that you could see that they could. And that this is drawing out the Thurisaz energy within, either to challenge or to try and fix, is the sense that I'm getting. Or maybe even to retreat sometimes. But it's a retreat, it's a knowing retreat, and it's not a sort of cutting and saying, right, just, there's still a focus on there. And what I'm getting the sense of is that can be quite exhausting. I think that's where Ren's piece around the Fey energy is important. It's recognizing that you have this Thurisaz power available to you to bring about great. There's a potency there. There's a potential there, but it's very much about managing that energy. So on Mondays, when I do Middle-earth readings, I look to keep a space in my diary where, as soon as possible after Middle-earth readings, where I can go and have a lie down, because that way I will recharge, and then I'll be ready for people that I'm seeing this afternoon, and it will all be good. And in this case, I'll be ready to go and see my son's nativity play. Hooray! But if I don't do that, the tiredness will continue to increase over time. So it's about energy management, is the sense that I'm getting here, Troy. And I would look at doing things like, you might want to do some cord cutting at the end of the day for anything that's bothering you, or that's or even after you've had a meeting with someone and you're feeling like, whoa, this is not okay with me. And it's sort of saying, okay, what do you need to do? I call it sometimes like emotional hygiene. I practice emotional hygiene techniques, and I work with a lot of my one-to-one clients on developing techniques that work well for them as energy workers to move out of a stuck energy into something different, almost like bringing that Perthro spirit. But the Thurisaz is offering itself for you at this point. So I would stick with going, okay, there is an impetus. So it's recognizing what is the thing. It's recognizing what is the thing that is either making me feel really tired, making me feel really demotivated, making me feel really like disenchanted, or making me feel angry or frustrated. And recognizing that the first step for you is to name it, because the Thurisaz energy is gathering around it. And then to say, okay, how do I transmute this Thurisaz energy, which can be a bit pointy and sharp and can move inwards when we feel thwarted and can be quite challenging for us, into the Hammer of Thor energy. And I know that you are on Bathroom Soul Journey, Troy, so actually for you, you can have a look on the Hammer of Thor workshop is included in your Thor's Chariot module. So if you haven't done it already, do go and do that and look at how can we then channel that energy. Rebecca. So Rebecca, you have Manas. You've had that before, haven't you, Rebecca? I can feel it. It feels like a signature rune for me. I know that it's a really lovely, powerful. It's basically just saying, "Go, girl." I think it really is about, I was talking to Candice, I've talked about doing like toasting work. I think Felicity, there was that sense, we had it with the Athala rune as well. I think it was Esther's, that real sense of bringing presence to what's already available. So there is and I think it's an active piece again as well. Maybe not a symbol, right, but some way of acknowledging the journey that you've taken and how far you are standing in your sovereign power right now as an important energetic step in bringing that energy through into the next year. So there's a self-honouring piece to be done. Oh, I'm just trying to sort of feel when that needs to be done. I mean, I'm feeling Yule actually as being quite an important piece, but it might be almost I don't know if you're already doing this, but either that it's saying, yes, do this, it sounds great, or it's saying, if you're not doing it, plan it. That sense of where am I now before Yule or before the new year, whichever feels the most potent to you. And then one afterwards, so that you recognise that, yes, this is what I've achieved and I'm standing there in this iteration of my powerful identity and what I'm bringing forward. And then I'm releasing that, maybe through the darkness of the night on Yule. And then I'm stepping into, I'm reaping the rewards of that sovereign self from the last year as the sun is reborn. And I'm opening to the new. I'm opening to the new possibilities as well. So that it's a rebirthing moment for the Man-as rune there. Carol, you have Bacano. Also a lovely, powerful rune. And there is an affirmatory basis to the Bacano rune as well. It feels like protection to me, Carol. It feels like that sense of calling on the protection of the Bacano rune. Not necessarily because you have new tender shoots ideas popping up all over the place. Like, oh, I've got this and I've got that, which can be Bacano energy. It can be like the new wants to be born and needs to be protected. But sometimes it's more like the child self. And I feel as if maybe there is some self mothering and self childing, I want to say, here, in terms of saying, play with those two roles. Play with, what does my child want to do right now? I was looking outside and I was going, I wonder if we're going to be building a snowman later, or we're going to be throwing some snowballs, and that sounds brilliant and great. But I also know that my little child self doesn't really like the cold very much or getting wet very much. So when I do that, the mother self will be going, okay, you're putting mittens and hats and all sorts of things on your children. What do you need to do for yourself as well? So that you can enjoy this experience with them. That it's not about like martyring myself to be like, I'm going to go outside, and they're going to do the thing, and they're going to really enjoy it, and I'm going to be cold. It's saying, okay, what does my child need in order to accompany them and participate in the play, so that I can be the mother and the child at the same time? And I would be looking at things in the moment. So, what would my child like to do right now? And how can I mother that child to allow them to do it? If, I had, I'd like to do some drawing right now. Maybe I need some really, really nice pens so that my child can really enjoy it and feel trusted with the nice pens. It's that sort of thing. So it's that partnership between the child self and the mother self that is coming through there. Jean, you have Eihwaz. So there's Bacano rune. I'm not sure if I showed it there. So you can almost see it's just like the partnership of mother and child in the two triangles there. Jean, you have Eihwaz, so you are very aligned with the energy, with Odin's chariot moving into Eihwaz today. There is a real wisdom coming through her. I feel as if this is the honouring for you. Is that honouring of the wisdom that you hold, and a recognition that there is no need. There might be a desire and you might want to, but there is no need for you to prove yourself. There is no need for you to go out into the world and say, oh, I know nothing, I need to go, I need to learn all the new stuff. Everyone else seems bigger or more knowledgeable or further along on their path, or any of those things. I'm feeling that might be why you've come after Carol's Bacana, because that does, it is that newness with Bacana, that sense of newness and possibility and growing into something else. But the Eihwaz rune is saying the really key and important thing for you right now is to honor your own wisdom and your own power, and to do perhaps some reflection work, looking back at achievements either through the year or through your life, things that you are proud of, things that nobody else may even know about, but just to spend some time recognizing that strength within you. It's a little bit similar to Rebecca's, but it's more, whereas Rebecca's is about who you are, the Eihwaz rune is about the access that you have to wisdom and experience, and it's honouring that. It's almost seeing those as being things that flow from you, regardless of what your self-confidence is, your self-belief is, or any of those other things. They're just there, and it's about recognising them and honouring them. Michelle, you have Uruz. We've had Uruz. I think we've had Uruz twice. We've had him one upside down and one the right way up. Is there anything else coming for the Uruz rune for you there? It's just actually saying it's keeping hydrated is what I'm feeling. Literally, when I close my eyes, then I got this little band of pain around the top of my head. Take care of yourself. Wear an extra scarf if you need to. Just pay that little bit extra attention to your health, to your immune system, to drinking hot water with lemon and honey in it whenever you need to. It's just a little bit of a let your Uruz rune be a bit of a defender of your physical health is what is coming through there. You can listen to the two other Uruz pieces if you want to hear a little bit more around that. Now Lisa and Cher have come together at the same time, both with the Hagalaz rune. Lisa says, no snow here, just cold and frosty. Yeah, I'm quite glad that the snow has come in some way. It's sort of, I really enjoyed it. It was so beautiful with the cold and the frost, but the snow does bring magic, and I really want to enjoy it today, because it will get all brown and sludgy, and then it will freeze and it will be less good to go outside. So I'm going to enjoy that today. I've talked about Hagalaz a little bit already in terms of thinking about ice and snow and frost and cold. And Hagalaz is the rune of the hail seed. The hail seed that destroys that which is no longer needed, no longer required, the things that are either weak and need to fade so that stronger life can go through, or the the aggressive things, the germs and the like I was saying, the fungi and the bacteria, and it sort of holds them back as well. And in the heart, in the very centre of the Hagalaz rune, let me see if I can find the Hagalaz rune, is a 6-pointed star. So it has two shapes. For those of you who were with me on Instagram, it was yesterday, I did a piece on my Christmas decorations, and one of the runes that is on my Christmas tree is Hagalaz in its 6-pointed star form. So Hagalaz, when it comes looking like a big capital H with a diagonal crossbar, can feel like the disruptor energy. Here we go, it's this disruptor energy. It comes forth and it says, I am asking for much, and ride with me, ride with the storm, see where it goes. But then when it comes as its 6-pointed star form, which is used in the younger Futharks, it offers this pattern. It says underneath the challenges or the difficulty or the snow falling down and making it really difficult for us to get to school and all of those things, underneath that is the divine plan of nature, the pattern, the eternal pattern that evolves more slowly, and the balancing force. And that's what I'm feeling within this for which one is it for? Oh, it's difficult when I've seen two people's runes at the same time and I'm getting two sets of images coming through. It's like they're overlaid on stained glass. So Lisa, I the only way I can describe this is I'm seeing like an island with the storm, like the sea all around it, and it's this place of great it is a peaceful place, but it's peaceful because of the power of the weather and the power of the storm, in this sense that not everybody would be able to endure or enjoy or be part of the wildness in the way that this landscape is suggesting you are. So there is a, I've been talking about claiming power here. There is a sense of recognizing that when others, when like society or other people, or like the general populace, whatever that means, Joe Blogs, look as if we feel as if that they're different to us, it's recognizing that Mother Nature is saying, yes, because you're me. You're me, you're part of me, or the wildness within me. You are part of that Hagalaz seed, and I claim you. Claim me back is what she is offering there. And then share. And seeing, I think that maybe that sense of the glass was more for you. It's like that light that we get. Even when we see beauty in something that looks as if it has been damaged or broken. Imagine a beautiful stained glass window and then it's got these jagged shatterings through it. And I feel as if it's that sense of recognizing the greatness of heart that it takes to open up to people who are potentially broken and fragile and wounded, and to look at a house or a place or an environment that hasn't been cared for or tended to, or that there's like litter all over it, and see the potential underneath. And I feel as if that's what's being offered here to you by the Hagalaz rune, is again an affirmation, a validation of that power within you, the power to see the beauty, the ideal, the vulnerable child within the person who's saying the thing that's just horrible, and like I say, and environments that feel like they haven't been cared for or tended to or don't feel good, that you're able to grasp hold of what's underneath there. And it's sort of saying, recognize that power in yourself, which is also a Hagalaz power. Patricia, you also have Eihwaz. So we've had Eihwaz with the steed, the speed, and I was talking with Suzanne, wasn't I? Now with you, Patricia, I'm feeling more of that sense of the speed of the Eihwaz rune. So the Eihwaz rune can be the horse and rider running free across the land, like unbound. It's that partnership between the prey and the predatory animal, which is so unique and offers so much. This sense in which, when man forged this relationship with horses, we changed our destiny quite substantively. In the same way that we have forged relationships with our environments, with the wild. And this is part of the legacy of humanity. Here we go, here's the Eihwaz rune. And it's seeing this partnership as being humanity on one side, and we might call it nature, we might call it, the spirit of the steed on the other. And I feel as if it's literally just saying this reassurance. Reassurance is the wrong word, it's more than that. It's like that nature wants to partner with us. I think sometimes we can feel as if, we are the destructive force here, and we are the only thing that we're going to end up destroying is ourselves, and presumably already a large number of species along the way. But it's almost that promise coming back in and saying, for all that, nature doesn't blame the lion for catching its prey, or I want to say termite, but I want to like building the termite mound. I don't know why termites have come up. Or even, like the grey squirrel for coming and getting the red squirrels to depart rapidly, for their dwindling numbers. There is no blame, there is no judgment, there is still always love and sustenance and support. And yes, it can be messy and difficult, and yes, we could argue, with the grey squirrels, well, that was human beings, wasn't it, that brought them across in the first place, and all of those things might be true, but those are part of our story world and our wisdom gathering about what it means to be the stewards of our planet. It is nothing to do with the way that our planet views us. There is no blame around that. There is still love, and that when we are able to tap into that and to know that we are so deeply, deeply loved by the earth, who knows what's possible at that point. And I don't know why I've been called to share that with you at this point, but I am called to share that with you, this message from via Eihwaz, that we can see in every part of nature, that each of us has that right. There is no, Mother Nature does not judge. Hearth-makers does not judge. Now, I know that your rune is Eihwaz, but sometimes people can feel as if, oh, I keep getting Hearth-makers, or I keep getting Northers, but they're not judging. There is no judgment from the runes. There is no judgment from Mother Nature, and so we can always go there. We can always go there. Candy says, oh, I'm glad you like my vision for the future, and thank you to everybody who says congratulations, Wunyo on my award, hooray! Erica says, oh yes, Erica, I know you know the fairy tale so well, don't you? And hold on, let me see, because the scroller has gone a bit weird. Gold Marie and Pet Marie and Mother Holder, I am telling this fairy tale next week. Oh, how wonderful! With the Sacred 12 Nights Diary Crafting. Oh, how beautiful. Jared, good morning to you. And Felicity says, out first thing to clear feeding spots for the birds. So there you see, you are seen. You are seen and witnessed that you have been doing that. Erica says, seeing the micro treasures of the moment through Eihwaz. I know what you mean about being mindful with what we drink and eat. And Candy says, that's beautiful. Definitely shall get some toasts to my family, spirits and home going. And Michelle says, what a lovely final wisdom with Eihwaz. Yes, indeed. Well, we have come to the end of our time together. It has been lovely. Thank you so much. And again, so much to those of you who stay joining me in the live, because you know we get a lot of people now coming and sharing their runes, so thank you for waiting patiently, and thank you of course to Suzanne who brought the runes for people who weren't able to attend in person. It's much appreciated. It's lovely to see all of you. Many blessings through the week. I look forward to seeing people who are in the Hearth Space circle for our session on Friday. We're going to be doing our meditation and embodiment session, and to seeing people who are coming to the winter ceremony on Friday evening. We are going to be looking at soul wounding, concepts of soul wounding, and messages that the wounded gods who we've been working through all of this year in the Hearth Space, what they want us to take away, what they want us to receive from their wisdom about soul wounding, and the way in which it is different, or at least my experience has been very different of their concept of what soul wounding means, and how we need to work with it to other shamanic traditions. So I look forward to seeing many of you then. Take care, and I will be here next week on Monday.